If we want to print the value of index 4, then what I say, x in this square bracket we can say 4, and then we'll get a value of that 4, the value at index 4. So this is the other way. But if you use pointers, okay, if you use pointers, then we can simply do a pointer arithmetic and get the values, all the values throughout the array. So no need to access the array with its index, because sometimes it might be a case where you might go out of bound. So this x plus plus, when you get out of bound, this x plus plus will be pointing to some different or some garbage memory. So we have to take care while we are iterating through an array or through some memory blocks, or if we are doing some pointer arithmetic. So you have to do increment only until the size of that particular block. That will give us you the valid values. This is a pointer arithmetic. Similarly, we can do x minus minus, where it will give us the previous memory. So I wanted you to walk through some demo code, whatever we discussed till now. So just to recap, we earlier I explained you a vehicle class. So vehicle class has some properties. So this yum underscore, we call it as a member variables, and these are the properties of vehicle. So each vehicle has model, make, its fuel, and vehicle type. So and these are the ways to create an vehicle object. So this vehicle is a constructor. So if you are new to C++, then you might not get this all these constructor and functions and all. Just I wanted to show you the overview of class structure. So who all can understand it? Yeah, just focus on what I'm explaining now. So this is a constructor which creates an object of vehicle class. This is another constructor which takes some few values and creates an object with those particular values. And earlier one is the default constructor. It creates a object with default values. Okay, and these are below are the functions we can set. We can set the value properties. So we can set type, model, make, and fuel. We can, once we create a dummy object of vehicle, then we can set these values to have to create a particular object out of it. This display is a function which displays in the console or displays in a output what type of object I am. The next is a car class. So car is, so here you can see car is a which is derived from vehicle. So car is nothing but a vehicle, I mean to say. So car has few more properties than vehicle. So car has these common properties of vehicle and its own properties. So number of airbags or engine power. And similarly, as explained, this is the constructor which help us to create an object of car. One more class is bus. So bus is also a type of vehicle. So I am deriving this bus from vehicle, and this bus has its own properties, number of seats and bus type, and there are many properties like this. So just to explain, I have added these two properties to each class. So what you can see here, so I have created a code which shows you a base class, it is vehicle, and the classes derived from a vehicle, that is car and bus. So this is our main program where we used to write algorithms or some what are we expected to do. So inside this we are creating objects, we are creating pointers, we are displaying the values. So this is the main side, so everyone can focus over here. I have created a vehicle object. So I passed vehicle type to it. It's model number, make, and its fuel type. So using these parameters, so my vehicle is created. So internally this vehicle is a car, because I am saying the vehicle type is car. This is one way. Okay, this is one way to create an object. As I told you, there are different types of memories. That is stack memory and there is heap memory in the memory block. So if we create an object using constructor, then it creates in the stack memory. And if you say object vehicle display, okay, so you can see the output, the first part of the output. Yeah, vehicle type is car, model is X3, make is BMW, and fuel is petrol. Next time I am creating a car object, a different car object using a pointer. So here I used a new keyword. So what it does, it creates an object at heap memory. So there are different memories I told. One is stack and one is heap. So if we create an object using new, it creates an object at heap memory, and what new does, new returns the address of that object. So what usually we do, if we have address, we assign that address to a pointer, as we did like integer 10, integer I equal to 100, and then address of I to pointer. Similarly, this new is returning me the address of this car object. So I have saved this address in a pointer, PTR vehicle. And if we say PTR vehicle display, then you can see in the second part of the output that it is now displaying car with a newer model and a different field type. Then why I'm deleting this over here, this is the advanced concept. So I will just one line I will tell you. If you do create a pointer using a new keyword, then it's your responsibility to delete that, because you are using a heap memory, and we should be responsible to delete that heap memory over here. So this is how we do delete pointers if we create on heap. And the next part you can see is new bus. So I'm creating a object of bus and assigning to same pointer. Okay, so earlier that vehicle is pointing to a car class. So we have deleted this PTR vehicle. So now the object it is pointing is now deleted. Now we can reuse this pointer, and you can assign the address of bus to it. Okay, see, PTR vehicle is now assigned the bus object, and if I say PTR display, then see, you can see with the same pointer, you can see the output as a bus, and it's all features or properties. So this is how pointer will work in real world programming. So if you can reuse the pointers, you can increment the pointers, you can decrement. So I will show you this code in code editor, so that it will be easy to understand. See, whatever code I explained you, so I have written over here. So this is a Visual Studio. So you can everyone can install the Visual Studio community version. It is free for all users. And this is the Visual Studio is the editor most industry are using for their regular programming. So if you start with this IDE, that Visual Studio, then yeah, it will be helpful for you once you jump into your so you can start using this editor instead of using online compilers, because online compiler doesn't give you all the features and maybe all the debugging, call stack, everything related to what needs to a programmer. So you can start using this IDE. So this classes I already shown it to you. So I just wanted to show you how this works. So I'm just started debugging. So what debugging gives us, you can see what is happening in each line. Okay. So I am passed through the line number 78. Here I have created object vehicle. So there is a locals window below. So yeah, I was talking about this Visual Studio Editor. So this is very user friendly, and you can it means everyone can download the Visual Studio community version for programming in C++. So that is free, and you can. I wanted to tell you this Visual Studio because every industry mostly uses this Visual Studio Editor, and you can be familiar before starting your job, and yeah, it will be easy to pick up when you start working there. Okay, so this is the same code what I showed in the PPT. I just wanted to show this code in real time how it works. So there is a local window here. So once you pass through a line number 78 where we are creating object vehicle, it shows that the object is created. So the pointer of this object is this one. These pointers are random in the memory, but you can see it. The model number is X3. So once you create, you can see this object is created properly or not. So you can't see it over here. So this local window will help you to check, yeah, my program is going good. So there is one other way you can mouse hover on this, and you can see like this. Okay. And once you display, that part is displayed in the console. So you can see the first part is displayed, whatever more object I have created. Then Next is a pointer. So you can see right now this PTR vehicle is pointing to some garbage address and there are no values, nothing. So once you pass through this line, see now we can see PTR vehicle got some proper address in the memory and it has assigned that properties. So this is now a valid pointer. So I told you before dereferencing a pointer, we should point it to a proper memory address and proper valid object. So we have this PTR vehicle now valid. You can see below in this window, and then we can say display. Once it is displayed, yeah, you can see this is displayed in the console. And once we are done, we can delete. Okay, see once we have deleted, you can see like pointer is some garbage and there are no values. So this pointer is now free to use for the next object. So we can assign a next vehicle object to it. So at line number 87, I'm again assigning the bus object to same pointer. So you can check it over here. Now the type is bus and the model, make and fuel, the values are changed. So this is how you can use pointers. You can assign pointers to a valid object. And so see, I'm calling this display. So display is already have these values already set. So whatever values are there for model, make, and it just print out in the console. And I will just quickly show you how dereferencing will work over here. So I want to get value of this pointer is pointing to. I'll just quickly run. So this is build. I'm just building the program. In C++, whenever you write a program, you need to compile it and create an exe or executable out of it. This pointer. So why it was saying we cannot do, because this pointer is a type of vehicle. So we have to dereferences to that same type. I'll do it same before deleting it for. So I'll explain you what I did. First, I told you how to create a pointer, and then I will show you how to dereference it. This part we already seen. Okay. So now we are at line number 84. So what I told, if I have valid pointer, so pointer vehicle is pointing to a car object with these values. So I want to access the object of that pointer. So see, I'm accessing the object out of it. Then I am getting an object pointer. So with the same values. Okay. So what I did here is I have dereferenced this pointer to get the project object that pointer is pointing to. Then I'm getting the same object here also. If you see this object bus, then it is the same object what this pointer is pointing to. So this is the way you can dereference. So you can simply identify the difference between dereferencing pointer. So if we have to declare a pointer, write a type and then asterisk vehicle star. And if we have to dereference it, we don't write any type, we write asterisk and the pointer which we want to dereference. So this is the simple difference, and you no need to confuse over here. So this is how the real. I'm going back to presentation. Okay. So hope you enjoyed the code session. So the next part is how C++ is evaluated till now. So initially the C++ programming is created by Bjarne Stroustrup and has a history going back to 79. So earlier they call it as a C with classes, because C doesn't support classes. C has structures and it doesn't support classes and object-oriented programming. So earlier they used to call it as C with classes, and then going forward they changes the name from C with classes to C++. And yeah, you can see like 85, 90, 98, the C++ evaluated, they started using like commercial products. So many companies are started adopting and moving from C to C++, using new features. Then yeah, in 1998 the version is C++ 98, and the 2003 version is C++ 03. It's like they keep on adding many features or many libraries, inbuilt libraries to C++, and just rename the latest version. So the current popular versions are C++ 11, C++ 14, C++ 17, and now they also release C++ 20. But in many industries, the code is at the C++11, and they have started using C++14, 17, and 20. So it is better to start with C++11 for you guys. Means if you start coding, you have to select C++11 standard, so that you can start learning C++11 features, and gradually you can learn 14 and 17 advanced features. And the last part is scope and job opportunities. Okay, so why industry prefers C++? So even though it is a very old language, still companies are preferring and still working on the language, C++ language. It has some strong features that makes companies to use this language. As I written over here, C++ is very fast and reliable, and it's a powerful language. What it does means most of the companies use it for backend because of this major feature. It's really fast, and that's why it is used in game development, quantitative finance, banking, and many other backend systems. Okay, and one more advantage is it has a very good hardware control. So they have developed, means we use embedded C++, which talks to a hardware, and many electronic giants are using embedded C++ for like talking from software to hardware. In a single line, what we can say is future is bright for C++, and it continue to adapt and improve day to day, and in like modern features. So as we say, they have released C++17 and C++20. So it continuously developing and adding up the new features. And here I just mentioned who are all using the C++, like game companies that need high performance, and companies with heavy graphics, simulations, flight simulations, or like a 3D model CAD simulations. Also, companies like satellite communication software companies, and companies that use embedded technologies, as I already told. So this is a so powerful language, having multiple domains. They can use in multiple domains, in game industry, in CAD industry, in healthcare industry, and majorly that is electronics, embedded C++. So yeah, future is if you learn C++ well, then future is bright, and you have the job opportunities in these domains, in these type of companies. And one more point I would like to add, it's my personal experience. If you learn C++, then it is easy to learn all other languages like Java, C Sharp, Python. But if you learn those languages, it is not vice versa true. It is if you know Java, then you can't learn C++ easily. So C++ is a crux. If you learn C++ thoroughly, then yeah, Java and Python and C Sharp, it will be like very easy task for you. I can say you can start straight away coding in those languages, just knowing the syntax. It is not the reverse way. So you can focus first to start with, learn C++. Um, that is my suggestion, maybe, because that was my personal experience. I can work on Java easily now because I know C++. But as a Java developer, if you ask Java developer to work on C++, yeah, it is very difficult, or they straight away refuse it because it's difficult to learn C++ for Java developers. So prefer C++, and then you can gradually learn another languages.